Got it.
Oh, right. Yeah, food, like what you say.
Okay, Bernard, you want to introduce what our purpose is today while I set up the laptop?
I think it's okay. You know. Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'll just speak less. I don't provoke.
no. Oh no, what happened? Sorry, 1 second. Come on, GP.
You are screen sharing?
Yes. I have prepared some slides. Okay. What happened? Sorry, 1 second. I think my computer is slowing down. Well, I did prepare some slides. Okay. I prepared some slides just to make it a little bit easier to figure out what we're doing together. For some reason, the slides want to move without me. For 1 second. Just gonna do this. Okay. Okay, so Bernard asked me to pull together this lovely workshop. Actually, I asked him because I thought it was important when I saw the strategy that came out that maybe we can start to align on some core messaging. And so I have sort of organized the next 2 hours, not to get into like refined, beautiful messages that Mekong Plus can use for all their communications and fundraising, but just at least to get aligned on the heart of everything, right? The key messages that we will then take to market, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I planned it this way. Hold on. Oh, really? Sorry. For all of you that don't know me, so I'm Dan. You cannot see me, but I have been working in the NGO sector forever in Vietnam. I also have worked for for-profit organizations too, mostly on fundraising, communications, and business development. And so this kind of activity is one of the things I love to do. So the way I plan this out, but it doesn't have to be a perfect thing, is I kind of plan this discussion to surround sort of 4 big areas. Part 1, which I think is key to talking about Mekong Plus and the strategy, is why are we here? What are we doing? What's the point of Mekong Plus? Part 2, I thought we would get into Mekong Plus strategy in general, not necessarily the document, meaning what is the organization's sort of structure, what are the programs and activities, and how do those support the mission, and what are Mekong Plus's capabilities? Because all of those things will help to speak to the last thing, and also talking about impact, which is why is Mekong Plus so special? What is the value proposition that we're going to bring to donors, to customers, to clients, to whoever is coming and then giving us lots of money? And so that is the main purpose. But at the end, I think it might be helpful also to summarize all 4 parts of this discussion, because I think it will help inform that strategy document that Bernard is working on. So, yes.
Can you reduce the speed?
Yes, sorry. I will speak much slower now, starting now. So if that works for everyone, then I can continue. I have a few slides before different discussion points just to give us things to think about. But is everybody okay, aligned with this idea?
Yeah.
Okay. And one thing I will say is the reason I sort of broke it down this way is because actually I think you have all the things ready. It's just that what I notice is when I look at your strategy document, by the way, or the website or proposals, it's in different pieces. So there's no one cohesive place. And so I think the point of today is try to start working towards one core key messages sort of toolkit.
Why, how, what?
Why, how, what? So this is sort of where I end up leaning into. What we discussed today, I will put into a much cleaner core message box. And so that will include these sort of sections: mission and vision, community, who do we serve, programs and activities, very clearly what the programs and activities are, what are Mekong Plus's capabilities, which also speaks to our values, and then how do we measure impact and achievement. Okay, that's just objectives. Okay, so I wanted to start with why. And so if I could get, this is our way of starting discussion too. If I can get very clearly the answer to this question for all of you, which is why do you personally work for Mekong Plus or support Mekong Plus? Why are you doing this? So if I could get a sample of answers from each of you, that would be awesome. Who wants to start?
I can start.
Yes.
So I'd say in my case, because I'm attached to this country and its development. Basically, that's it. I've been living here for 9 years, and one of the reasons I actually moved to Vietnam is because of the economic growth. So I like to see everyone profit from it, basically. So yeah, that's my definition.
That's great. Anyone else? I will make Bernard go last.
Thank you. That was my plan.
Yes, for me, I decided to work in Mekong Plus because firstly, I can have the poor people in my hometown because Mekong Plus office is near my home, and it's also have it's the income for my life also. So, and the second thing that is I work with the international organizations. I can work with the foreign funders, foreigners, and I can negotiation and challenging myself with them. And so I also joined some training to improve my ability, capacities, and explore the foreign countries to open my mind for the world out there.
I love that.
And yeah, my
Yes.
yes. To be honest, the first time I worked for Mekong Plus, just because I want the environment English, I can work with English. But after that, when I joined Mekong Plus, I find that I will work for Mekong Plus for a long time because I can help the people, especially Vietnam and Luana. They are foreigner, but they help Vietnam. Why not me? Thank you.
I love that.
And your English has improved so much.
Congrats.
Yeah, and about me, I also
What's your name?
Wing.
Wing, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I also study English in university, and after the graduation, I applied for this job. First of all, because I'm looking for a job and to earn money, but because at that time I feel very proud because I can work for an NGO organization at that time.
But why do you stay? NGO, we don't get paid money. We
Because the placement of NGO in Vietnam, if everybody hear about NGO, they will think they help everybody and their salary must be high.
I love your honesty.
But gradually, when working with the community, I feel very passionate with the poor community. I feel very be in touch when they share their story.
And one more important reason is the working environment of Mekong Plus, the board of director, the staff, they very friendly and easy. They are willing to share their experience to each other. Yes,
That's
and
Thank
I
you.
think that's the reason why I keep in touch.
Next. I'm glad she said good things about the board.
Okay, should I be in the next?
Yes, please.
Okay, first of all, I got involved in Mekong Plus to help my relative Laurence Villeneuve, who recently became the president of Mekong Plus France. And it is her who actually called me to say, well, Laurent, you've been working in Vietnam for many years, you know the place, why don't you join the board? So it started from there. And I thought it was very aligned with what we were doing already as Dirox. Dirox is the name of our company. It's a small IT company in Vietnam. Because actually for 20 years, we are celebrating our 20 years birthday this week.
Wow.
We've always been doing activities with the school, with some village, with some association, with Alliance Anti-Traffic. There has always been a will to see the Dirox doing good around it, not just doing its job, getting money, getting a salary, and getting on with life, but to actually try to share a bit and to help around where that Dirox does good around it. Okay. And so Mekong Plus aiming at reducing poverty, we thought that that was probably a good cause to support. And I also felt generally that being in IT, maybe IT is a good way to develop Vietnam. And we had a dream to say, you know, in code, the CODE, the coding, in code we trust, or let's through code, because at the end of the day, we were starting to employ more and more people. These people get a good salary compared to other salary in Vietnam, and then they support their family in the village, you know. So, and then we give opportunity for young people in the village to get education, learn code with us, get a good job, send back money to the village. We felt that there is plenty of opportunity for us to actually do good, and maybe like with Mekong Plus, to help remote places in Vietnam. And maybe through some IT development specific that maybe Mekong Plus could not have access to, do it for them, help them in order to be more efficient in what they do in giving their support. So in light of this, I accepted the mission given by Laurence Villeneuve, and we got involved in Mekong Plus. Is that
That's beautiful.
is that okay?
That's great.
A bit long, maybe.
No,
Okay.
passionate, good.
Yes. And for me, because you know, I work in a poor farmer, and I know about the situation of the poor in a rural area. That's why I work for Mekong Plus for a long time, for 35 years. And why so long? Because in the rural area of Vietnam, you see, there are also many poor still stay there. So I will try to work more, and I don't know when I will finish.
When you will finish the mission.
Yeah, thank you.
Luana, do you want to answer?
Yes. Yes, I work with Mekong Plus since 20 years. And for me, it's important that Mekong Plus have a mix in social development and entrepreneurship in every program. For me, it's very important. I think also that the community development method is very important and effective. And also the teams are very competent and committed in the program. There is also more relation between the Europe and the Vietnam and also the Cambodia.
That's great. I hear lots of different kinds of motivations. And I will sum up in a minute, but Bernard?
No, next, Kosal.
Oh, sorry, yes. Kosal, maybe?
Yeah. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so introduce myself again. So my name is Kosal. I have been with Mekong Plus maybe 14 years, nearly 14 years. But in last few years, we have localized from Mekong Plus to the local NGO in Cambodia that we call CAO, mean that Community Advancement Organization. So, I have a chance to meet many people. They work with the international NGO and local NGO in Cambodia. So I can talk a lot about the program, about the mission, and what we are doing in Cambodia. But what I see different between Mekong Plus or right now we call CEO and the other NGO in Cambodia is that it touch my feeling to continue, and sometimes it motivate me to uh, uh, to stay longer with the project in Cambodia is what we have applied and what we have do for so far in Cambodia is so much different. So firstly, what we are doing, first we think about the sustainability, long-term projects, and we think about the poor family, poor farmer first. And sometimes really, sometimes I have too much pressure from Bernard, from founder, but I still motivate and I still want to learn from my mistake. And because I understand that this problem it can uh, because the problem they want to help, they want to improve, and they always think about the Cambodian people or Vietnamese people for the project in both countries. So, and another reason is the today we talk about the strategy, but I will beg to talk about the policy and of course the program. Every program we always think about the sustainability. I would like to talk this again. And this question I always got from many foreigner. They visit the project in Cambodia, so why I can stay longer and I should at least they said that after 5 years we should apply to another place to get more and learn from another experience and to develop more and more. But I think that here also I can at least I can help. I can join with Mekong Plus, even though not the big or international NGO, but I can join together to help my country. I can use my skill and at least just go through back to 10 years before that when I meet Bernard first, I cannot speak English. So here they gave me a chance. I I can improve myself I can say from zero till now, even though not much better, but I can compare myself is a bit better. And I did not say any place like the Mekong Plus. They give a chance to the staff like me or the other from the beginning that we have no any other experience. So I learned from strategy of the Mekong Plus. So for my next start in my team. So we try to give them a chance to learn and let them to join us from the beginning like me. And so everyone they improve little by little. I think that not only me, but we have another staff in our team. We start from the like we just have the technical skills. So and we have no experience, we have no English. But today, someone if they like and they want to apply to other NGO, I think that they have enough capacity and enough experience to apply. But everyone, I believe that this thing like me, the policy, the strategy, the plan, and the program, yeah, really touch us and motivate us to stay longer and to help each other in the project.
Let me just get some clarification. So when I say why do you work for Mekong Plus, I also mean like not about the working environment, right? I mean for
Yes.
all of you, to be honest. And I
Yes.
find this a very hard question for NGO people to answer, which I think is quite funny. Is not why did you pick East Meets West or Mekong Plus or Saigon Children's Charity, but why do you do this work, right? I mean, honestly, we all could have better paying jobs other places. But why do you do the work that you do, right? Which happens to be at Mekong Plus. And what I'm hearing from a lot of you, which is, I think, which is that common theme, right, is because actually you want to support the well-being of rural communities. You want to improve and reduce poverty, right? Not improve poverty, reduce poverty, and especially in Vietnam and Cambodia. Is that right so far?
Yeah.
And last, if I can just hit Meet before we move on to the next part. Meet, do you have can you tell us why you choose to work in the work that you do and why you are working at Mekong Plus?
Thank you, Van. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the question. Why do you work for Mekong Plus? Because of I love Mekong Plus. Because of Mekong Plus provide me the opportunity. My background is agronomy. I work here for the agronomy assistant for 1 year, and then Mekong Plus provide me the chance to work for the handicraft, for the bamboo mats, and then after 2 years, also Mekong Plus provide me the opportunity, upgrade me to vice director. So I work for the management, for the team management, and the assistant of the director, assistant to for the COSAL. And then right now, Mekong Plus still provide me the good chance for the fundraiser that I can try to improve my knowledge, my English skill, and also I can meet many people from another culture. Like the last week, I had to join the we can call an conference at the Vietnam with Wisely even. So I'm very happy. And other one is about I can call solidarity. It means that all the partner of the Mekong Plus, like CEO, like Chinji Center, like Mekong Queer and An Dương, all the staff, all the staff from all the I mean I don't know how to say. That means all the staff we are look like friendly. Like me, I can cross to visit another place like Chinchi, like An Dương, like Mekong Kill. So I have learned more, and everyone is very friendly. That all of them can keep me for long time for the for work for Mekong Plus. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, Bernard, why are you still here?
Well, why I came in the first place.
Yeah, why did you come in the first, why did you start this in the first place?
Yeah, well, actually, when I think again, my passion really has always been, and even more now than before, to the point that I ask, well, am I really fit to do anything else? Maybe not. My passion really is to work with poor people, underprivileged people who are themselves very hardworking. I mean, this is very important. If the people are not really committed, not involved, then I lose interest completely. So they are hardworking, and I love to work with all the team members because I feel they are very committed, very hardworking. And another dimension is that my background is business management. So for me, solidarity and efficiency go very, very much together. You cannot say, well, I want to do charity work and you are not doing it in a strict, efficient way. I mean, this is hypocrisy. I mean, it has to be, and it's very hard. Like, the day before yesterday, we were in Nature, and we were discussing about the impact of a microloan. And my feeling is that actually we spend money in not an efficient way. So this is, I mean, you're talking to people who have less than $100 per day, and maybe the microloan is not the best way to help them. So always looking at impact, efficiency, and of course the community feeling. I mean, not only supporting poor people who are hardworking, but they do it with a community feeling. It's not only for their own family or but in a wider sense.
And so when you say you enjoy working with underprivileged people,
Yeah.
and who are hardworking, what are you trying to work with them to do?
I mean, if we can use a nice big word, make it a better place.
Thank you.
In many ways, environment, society, solidarity.
Good. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, so when I had this discussion with Laurent about sort of thinking about what we were going to do and how we were going to put together some of these key messages, I'm going to disagree with you for a minute. He said, I think we need to put together, we need to figure out what donors want, and then we say those things. I could be paraphrasing you incorrectly, but actually, for me, what is important is defining clearly what Mekong Plus is, and then finding the right people who believe what we believe to come with us and support us. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then highlight those messages and market them all across different places, all across different channels, right? So did anyone actually watch the video that I sent yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. And what were some of the key takeaways that you got from the video?
That's debated by HP.
So we have to talk what we believe. It's not our products or something else.
Yeah.
I think that during the interview of everybody here, there were many good reasons for being passionate in working for Mekong Plus. But then now I add one more filter. And this filter is the last one in the video, is why should anybody care?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so for instance, I heard I learned about management, I learned how to speak English. There are many things, which is excellent reason to get involved. The thing is that for any donor, somewhere in New York or in Belgium or in etc., is it important to him? Maybe not. Probably not, because he doesn't know you. If you are family related to him, probably he will be very happy to give money to Mekong Plus so that you learn English or so that you learn management. But if he doesn't know you, why should he care, right? So then this, if you apply this filter to all what you've done or we've done in the ideas, what remains? What remains? Because if we want to attract donors, we need to have things that they care about.
Yeah.
That's my only comment.
No, that is a brilliant takeaway, because actually, so one of the mistakes I see with a lot of NGOs in Vietnam and outside of Vietnam is they don't start with, why do we care? Why do we do this work? They start with, I have a water program, and then I also I give scholarships, and then and everybody does that, right? I mean, if we face it in Vietnam, there are a certain number of projects everybody does. We give scholarships, we build schools, we build things, right? And I think so the starting point for what we need to do is actually, why are we doing this?
Okay. And give just one example. I don't know if it answers, if
Yeah.
it's good enough
Please.
to convince a donor. But I remember this girl, she's 15, and the mother says, I'm not going to school, we don't have the money.
Great.
Okay, what she needs is a bicycle.
Mm.
And she was crying, she was begging to go to school. So I feel, this for me is a key argument. She's, I mean, we met with a family, and the boy is ready to buy 24 kilometers every day to go to school and back 24 kilometers because he wants to go to school.
Mm.
And he knows very well, if he does not, what will happen. So for me, this is the motivation. If I'm upset when I see children in Lincoln, they will take an electric bike to go to 1 or 2 kilometers. This upsets me because I think it would be very healthy for them to use a normal bike and to save that money and put it somewhere else. So this is what motivates me. And hardworking people
And provide for the same money, provide 200 bamboo bags to other people.
But is this?
This is exactly what I want. So for example, I did not give my own question of why I do social impact work.
Mhm.
But my answer is very similar to all of you, meaning it's similar but different. I am motivated because my parents had a very different life and childhood than I had, right? And that seems unfair, right? My father did not have access to education. He did not have easy access to healthcare. He did not have access to a normal, like a protected childhood, right? And so why am I so lucky? I actually believe that people deserve, right, a certain level of standards, right? Education, healthcare, blah, blah, blah. And that is why I choose to work for these things, right? And I think when we start talking to donors, or we start talking or marketing Mekong Plus, right? I think there is a common belief here that rural and poor communities deserve an equal opportunity, right? To different things. And I think this is what Mekong Plus does very well. That somehow, when we talk about Vietnam and Cambodia, the what has been clear in like a lot of ideas is Vietnam and Cambodia are chasing economic growth, they're chasing money, right? But actually they're chasing money at the expense of poor communities. It's like we don't exist anymore, right? Mekong Plus is saying, no, actually, we need to still focus in these areas, because if we don't, the country will not develop, right? Vietnam will not develop, Cambodia will not develop, right? And I think that is something that's clear that we all share in the room. Which is also why I need you to watch this video. Because what I want us to get used to doing too is first talking about the why, and then what we're doing to affect the why, and then how we do it, right? And so that leads me to my next point, which is, okay, the Apple thing you already heard. Okay.
Which reminds me, by the way, very
Please.
much of, if everybody has seen the video, the example of who was it, the brothers, the brothers,
Right.
Right.
Wright brothers, yes. So like Mekong Plus, these guys had no money, right? They were, carrying their spare parts with them and doing a lot of effort. Whereas other people had all the money and all the skills and all the stuff. And meanwhile, with very little means, it's the Wright brothers that won.
Yeah.
Right? I think this kind of spirit is in the head of many people around the world, right? The especially entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
people who have succeeded in life, who have money, and who wants to donate, sharing this belief that with little things you can do.
Yeah.
You can achieve great things if you have the passion, right? So maybe there are some roots that we can use.
What I would like to just highlight now is so looking at your strategy originally, Bernard, and also looking at the website. The website is starting to look really awesome, by the way. But something that is still a little bit unclear, right, is this idea of mission and vision. And I mean, if we can just play with this for a little while in our next discussion. So mission, just to get terms clear, is essentially why the organization exists. What is the core purpose, right? Which we're starting to talk about now. And vision is what you imagine if Mekong Plus is successful, what would the world look like? And so I just will show you a couple examples from some other NGOs before we go back to talking about Mekong Plus to make it clear. So very different organization, right? Breast Cancer Network, Vietnam. So Breast Cancer Network works to increase early detection of breast cancer and then also improve the quality of life for women in the community in Vietnam, right? So mission is very clear. This is actually very centrally focused. They're, they have one thing, breast cancer, right? But the vision is that they envision a society. So if they're successful, then it means that we live in a society in which Vietnamese women and the community have the necessary and important knowledge and skills to fight breast cancer, right? And they see a future where no more women, is like very imaginary future, will die of breast cancer. Right? So very clear, the two differences is mission is what are we going to do, what we want to do, what is our aim for the organization, and vision, if we're successful, this is what the world looks like. And then one more, I just show you for clarity. Again, a little bit simple. I know what I kind of assume what Bernard is thinking. These are one, I don't want to say one trick ponies, but like one centrally focused thing, whereas we have a little bit wider scope, right? For Viet Seeds, they invest in highly motivated students from underserved communities in Vietnam. Got it, right? And in the future, if it's successful, that means they will have brought equal access to college education for all students. And they break the cycle of poverty, and they have an entire generation of active leaders and citizens from different places. Easy again, right?
And if I may, because that's very important to me. So I say it now. If I take out my Mekong Plus hat, I just play my American donor from New York. Okay. If I want to help students, because I believe in studying being a way to emancipate poverty around the world, and I like Vietnam, and I want to give money to Vietnamese students, I will prefer to give it to Viet Seed rather than to Mekong Plus.
Based on this.
Based on this. Do you know why? Because they only do that. So they must be really good at doing that. They must be the best in the world at doing that because they just do that. If they were not sure whether they are so good at it, they would do many other things as well and overall justify their existence. But no, they just do that. They must be really good at doing that. That's why I have taken out my Mekong Plus app. I would give it more to Viet Seeds rather than Mekong Plus because I went on Mekong Plus and they do plastics, they do trips, they do bicycle, they do kills, they do all sorts of stuff. But I get the feeling that maybe Viet Seeds do it better. It's incredible, considering how long you've been doing it, how many people you've helped. Probably you've helped more people than these guys. Maybe these guys started their Viet Seeds last year. I don't know this company. But I'm saying that there is, as a donor, I think there is purity here.
It's a clarity.
Clarity, yes. And that's something that I think we need.
Okay, but then this would lead to what? Because if you replace the word students by
Villagers.
villagers, but villagers.
Alors,
Yeah.
if I replace student by villages, okay, then VietSeeds is now in competition with 257 other NGO who are all helping villages. And then my question is, is that really the best one? And then I start to open another window and another window and another window and after 257 windows open, finally I give up because I have no time. I need to go for lunch. So I don't give to anybody.
But
like this, I'm sure I'm not making a mistake.
Here's what I would say to that. Because I also understand what you're saying, but I've also worked for large INGOs that have a larger scope.
Yes.
And I think it is also about how we communicate that mission, right? And so that is where I will lead us into
Of
the
course.
next part.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry if I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. I think what you say is correct in the sense that, for example, if I know nothing else, this is super clear, right?
Yeah,
it is.
And one of the things about going to donors is, of course, if you even get in the door, maybe you have 30 minutes to an hour to convince them that you are the one that it has to be supported, right? And so the question is, what is that first bite that you want to give them before
Exactly.
tell them the rest?
And it's even worse than this, because in order to get these 30 minutes, you had 8 seconds in an elevator to actually get the 30 minutes meeting or not. And what's getting you into the door, giving you the opportunity to show what you do, is actually the message. And that's where it needs to be pure clarity and make them say, I like that. Me too, I believe that. Like the video that you showed us in the link, right? Yeah, we need to get that clarity.
So we can either do this next part as discussion, or if you want, I can give you a few minutes to write your thoughts, because some people find it easier to write things, right? If you want to just very simply from what you know about Mekong Plus and what you want Mekong Plus to be, if you know what that mission is, we can either write down some sentences on the board now, or if you want, if it's easier, we can give people a few minutes to write it. And then my second question is, if we are successful in that mission, what is the vision? What does the world look like? I think it's probably better if I give you 5 minutes to write, and then we can report back. And what I don't want you to do is go to the website and look at what's written. I want you to write completely based on what you love about Mekong Plus, right? What do you think the mission is? What do you think the vision is?
And it's even worse than this. It's what you want Mekong Plus to become.
Yeah, sure.
Because we are looking toward the future now.
This is
right?
why I am having this brainstorming session. So clean brain.
Yeah, clean brain.
I
Yeah.
think Bernard, that might be hard for you because you've been doing this for 30 years. But take 5 minutes and write, why does Mekong Plus exist? What is the mission? And what is the vision if we are successful?
Mhm.
And then I come back to you in 5 minutes. If you need more time to, I can always spend more time. Oh, look, Wayne is ready. And what I would suggest is that you try to keep it to a sentence. And while you do that, I'm just going to check the chat and make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, maybe we will talk louder from now on. Sorry. I don't see anyone writing anything except for
Writing in my
and
head.
Laurent. Let me know if you need more time. Me, Kosa, Lorna, are you still there? You need any more time?
Oh, 5 minutes, please.
Okay, I give you 2.
Thank you.
Just checking because everyone in the room seemed to finish, but it's okay. We still have 2 minutes. So the future, we know the future. Anybody else want water?
Just a second.
You know,
Yeah.
oh, ooh,
It's okay for me.
okay. Okay, then let's start. Does anyone want to go? Luana, you want to go first? I'm going to start writing these things on a board, which you cannot see, but I will record. Luana, do you want to go first? If not, it's okay. Anybody else want to go first? Oh, Luana, yeah. Sorry, she's on. Luana,
Yes.
would you
Okay.
like?
Yes, I can. Why does Mekong Plus exist? For develop poor rural areas in Cambodia and Vietnam.
I love that. Okay, somebody else? Mission? Why do we exist? Why do we still exist?
Should we give like 3 answers or one?
How about one for now, and then we'll go back to vision in a minute.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, please.
Arnold?
Why does it exist? Because it needs to. Because I suppose that it's not only the case for Vietnam, it's for every country. But if there were like a fully functional welfare state, private individuals wouldn't need to do work themselves.
So you mean that there's inequality?
No,
that
it's
there's-
like if there's not enough structures, governmental structures to actually do this kind of job.
So you're saying that Mekong Plus fills a need,
Exactly.
and what is that need that they're filling?
Yeah, it's related to inequality, obviously. Yeah. Bridge the gap.
Oh, we should get that in there. Ah, okay, go ahead.
And prevent even more inequalities in the future in the case of a fastly developing country. So that the situation doesn't worsen somehow.
Okay, next, someone else?
So I also have same reason with Lord that there's Mekong Plus try to have the vulnerable communities in Vietnam and Cambodia get a better life.
I love that, okay.
Yes, maybe it's the same for me, but and for me, we support. We have the very poor to go up to at least to pay this needs to at least to the line of the basic living of the people. Basic needs. Yeah.
I know that too. Oh,
Mission. I like the initial mission, reduce extreme poverty. Personally, I think it's good. And the vision is a world where hard work gets you out of poverty.
Given the right conditions.
Given the right condition, yeah. But
anyone else want to start in? Oh, Kisa?
What's that?
Kusa? Do you have an answer mission? Why does Mekong Plus exist?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I did not hear well, sorry.
Sorry, Kusa, asking if you have an answer to what is the mission?
Oh, sorry. I have the problem with hearing, so
I was asking question number 2. What is Mekong Plus's mission?
the mission, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So for the mission of Mekong Plus, we also keep forward when also we localize to the local NGO in Cambodia, is that we are a social, Mekong Plus is as a social development organization. So we work cooperate with the national and international together to contribute to the social economic development for the poor people in the rural area or community. And otherwise, the mission of Mekong Plus, they want to build the capacity and encourage people in the community to solve their own problem. Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, that is great.
Yeah.
Like the soft part, because I think that goes back to what you believe.
And then do you have something to propose for Mekong Plus vision? Yeah. So Sam, do you have a vision to propose?
I did not. Yeah, I did not make the proposal yet.
That's okay. Anybody else with the mix? Shang, can you hear us? Do you have an idea on what is our mission?
I have already on the chat box. I have right already on the chat box.
Thank you very much. Oh yeah, she did. Plus exists because there are still lots of poor people who live under $1 a day. We need Mekong Plus to support with microcredit to improve livelihood models, increase income and poor students with scholarships, and eliminate poverty. 3, no poor people. Oh, the 3 is sorry, the vision. A world with no poor people, no students dropping out of school, disadvantaged people, and have better access to knowledge and skills for living. I love the conciseness of that. Shang, that's great.
Very good.
No poor.
No student drops. No disadvantaged people.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's wonderful. Anyone else vision? Anyone want to contribute before I move on?
The mission,
Oh, sorry, and yourself.
for me, the mission is to give the capacity to motivate people to work to improve their community. Give the capacity to motivate people. Autonomy. I mean, so like social workers, we give them the capacity to work. Now, if we're talking about Chinchi, the local NGOs, for example, they will give the capacity to farmers or to women leaders in the village to improve the community. Like a women, for example, they meet together to fight with domestic violence. So our mission is to give capacity to these people, training, some logistics, etc.
So that makes sense.
So that they could operate.
I kind of changed it a little to empower or equip people to improve the community. Okay.
Empower people. Empower people.
Empower or equip people to improve their community.
Empower people and it's fine for me, but I'm afraid that some people react.
Well, we don't have to have it perfect today. I'm actually just trying to pull together some themes.
Yeah, okay.
And then we can also, as a consultant, I would never imagine to change your vision. I just want to get alignment right on where we're going. And vision, what do we imagine if Mekong Plus is successful, we will all be out of jobs and what else?
Equality, really? Equity. Equity. It depends, maybe not everybody wants to be equal.
I prefer to be dominant.
I mean, some people don't want to work, and some people don't want to be involved. So it's, I think, all people should have equal access, so that they could contribute to the better community. With me, I have very little interest for people who are not contributing.
Yeah, but you could also argue there are reasons for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is great. This is a good start. Let me move because I want to show you what is.
Next slide.
Well, what is it? What I also see on. Oh, sorry, one more thing and then I will move on. So something I also saw on the strategy that was a little bit confusing. And I think it goes to how we communicate about Mekong Plus too. So who are you trying to serve? Who are you working with? Who is your customer? Quote unquote. If an NGO was a business, who would be your customer? Who is your constituency? Who's your
Here, I think we have two cases because Mekong Plus is one. The local NGOs is another.
Sure.
Because I don't think Mekong Plus wants to have a direct access to the villagers. It's not our goal. Our goal at Mekong Plus is to help these local NGOs to have the capacity to be efficient, to accomplish their mission. So it's kind of a second time. Proxy. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, at the end of the day, you have an organization with Mekong Plus, the NGOs, and you serve some people in need of something, right? On one side, you have the donors that you serve as right, because they are giving you money, so somehow you need to give them back something. So on one meaning, they are some of your customers, and on the other side, you have the local population who are also in need of something, and your organization, including the local NGO, are giving them something, right? So first, I think that there we are talking about the customer, the local population, the poor people in the remote area. Is it right, Valerie?
This is also why I asked honestly, because I myself don't understand completely the structure, so I want to make sure. So, for example, if I'm telling someone, let's say I'm telling my old office, KPMG, to give Mekong Plus money. Is Mekong Plus using that money to serve local NGOs?
Yeah.
Or are they serving the local communities? What I'm hearing is local NGOs, and that's okay, but then I need to be able to communicate who this is, right? I mean, I know but I mean like,
Well, it
How-
depends, you have the short answer and the longer answer. The short answer is like Laurent said,
yeah,
okay, they serve these communities.
yeah,
But the long answer is that the local NGOs are more than a tool. They are really partners. There is, they are feeding Mekong Plus, like Mekong Plus is also incapacitating these local NGOs.
and that's okay, but it's, how I say it like this. If the local NGOs are Mekong Plus's partners, they're Mekong Plus's partners in what? Or,
First, that's the poor people who have income less than $1.
yeah,
First, let's say. And the second, let's say for the students
yeah,
in the poor community. Maybe the risks are private and school maybe high, so it's higher than this benefits for it.
yeah,
So just to spicy a bit the discussion, when if I understand, you have two beneficiaries, the students and the poor people less than $1 a day, right?
Yes.
So when you do a cruise,
Hmm.
which one do you help? When you sell a bamboo bike, which one do you help? When you do recycling of plastic, which one do you help? With are there some clients here that some beneficiaries, sorry, that we have not captured? Look at all your activities and tell us if just writing this for people less than $1 or you are serving some other people. No.
But this is my point, we are trying to increase the capacity of the people who serve. Not only just the villagers themselves, but social workers who work in that community.
Okay.
but I just want to make sure I understand, so that means Mekong Plus is supporting these 4 local NGOs who are serving these people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
The students, they are also poor people worth less than $1 per day.
Yeah.
We could say that.
Yes.
Okay, so
yeah,
in
like
fact,
a subsidy.
Yeah.
so in fact, it's including students, right? It's just one.
But I can understand the separation, I'm okay with the separation.
Yeah.
But then we need to be able to speak to this very clearly, because sometimes I've known you for years and I still didn't understand this. And I've known you for years, but still, right, now I can explain it. But, inside the communications, we need to be.
Yeah, how to formulate this.
And I see it on the website, for sure, I just still was confused, so now I think
Okay.
clear, or.
So you are not considering the donors as customers.
In this case, in terms of what I'm saying, constituency, communities that people are serving, no, I think the donor is
That's right.
is a stakeholder,
Very.
but maybe not the ultimate people that we're aiming to serve.
That's
right?
perfect.
So I agree with that because government is in there, there's other people in there too. Okay, so I just wanted to show you 2 sentences I found, and I don't know. Right now, this is what is available, right? When I just Google. So the first one is supporting rural communities in southern Vietnam and Cambodia towards sustainable development with and for all. And then there is a disclaimer. Then you have to read the star, and sustainable development means blah, 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 right? So it's very long. And clearly that's not a succinct, right, mission statement. If I have to have a disclaimer, it's not a mission statement. And then the second one, which is, I think the original one, sorry, the second mission, which I have seen on different documents, is this idea of eliminating extreme poverty. So after we've had this discussion, should we somehow revise this? Is the actual mission something between the two, or is it one, or is it the other?
In either case, it's too long, but it's okay. But in either case, for me, it's very long. It's quite a mouthful. Like some would say, but personally, I prefer the second one because it's shorter and it's clearer, and it's not using woofy words like sustainable development that everybody is using, but without necessarily doing it. It's a bit of a
You can make it shorter because Mekong Plus obviously is not in Africa, so you can take out Vietnam and Cambodia. To me, I have a problem with extreme. I think I don't want poverty. Full stop. No poverty is good, so little poverty is not good.
I could tell you, yeah,
So take away extreme.
yeah. Personally, I would keep it.
So I would say the thing about Vietnam and Cambodia is important, meaning this is part of the special thing about Mekong Plus. It's also called Mekong Plus. Right, so being very clear about where you are working, what you're doing will also help us find the right people who will then support you, right?
Yes.
So
Because the problem is poverty. I can tell you I'm poor.
It's
I feel poor every day I wake up, actually. You know. So then, you know, that why would people give me money? You know, but extreme poverty, it's painful to see people in extreme poverty because they have less than $1 per day. They don't eat well. They are like this, they're not like this. So but I feel poor. So I think in terms of being precise and impacting, I like extreme personally.
Yeah. Okay.
So if I look at what you all said as ideas, right? And we can perfect it later. My intention for this is not to make the perfect sentence now. But it's a lot of the same phrasing, right? So definitely we've got poverty. We have rural areas and vulnerable, right? So we just need to figure out how we talk about that. We talk about supporting, we talk about developing, we talk about equipping or empowering, right? And then, of course, poverty and basic needs.
Yes, there is one thing we are not talking about, and which I think for a mission is quite important, is measurability. That's later. No, but because you showed some different NGOs.
Yes.
And in their mission statement, we could see the way it's written, we say, this year we did well, or this year we did not do well. And when we say we reduce extreme poverty, say, yeah, but it's a bit vague.
So in the next section of our discussion, we will talk about how those programs and activities of Mekong Plus deliver the mission. Right? So once we figure out that nice, beautiful sentence, then we also help to illustrate the impact by talking about the activities that we do. So we're leaning into that and we're getting there, but we're not there.
So can I add just one notion that is, I think, important for me is the notion of connecting those villages to development because they're disconnected as of now, and so Vietnam is taking the train of development, but there are food stop at the train station. Those guys. So for me, one of the goals is to bring them back in that system, the global Vietnamese and Cambodian economy.
The other thing that is nice is that you put villages.
Yeah, connected. Yeah,
because for people who do not know Vietnam, actually people don't know there are villages in Vietnam. They just think Vietnam is like Ho Chi Minh City with skyscrapers and everybody in car and everything. They say, what? Poverty in Vietnam? No, we see it every day that Vietnam is growing, is the tiger of Southeast Asia, everybody's rich there, right?
Yeah, it's done.
So what are you about? Right? So the fact is, hang on a minute. That's not what we are talking about. There are some rich people in Vietnam, that's correct. But there are also extremely poor people in some remote areas, right? And I think it focuses the attention of the people who read that to say, okay, my image is not correct. We're talking something different, and that's much more clearer.
So with also the people that we're serving, right? That needs to be sort of in the in the mission too, and so you sort of start talking about it here in terms of equipping people with capacity or organizations that work with these people. There was a one phrase, I thought it was Kosal, I think, about solving their own problems too. I think this is something that is different about Mekong Plus, is this acknowledgement that it's not helping poor people like a charity, it is bringing people up so that they can solve their own thing. So I think this is something that is special.
You're already in the how. Yeah.
I know.
Right?
So let me take this and take everything we discussed, and I will try to put it into a cleaner place and then work with Bernard until the wording it feels right. If you want, we can take a break before the next part. You can take a 5 or 10 minute break if you need a break.
Very good, okay. Yeah.
Sang, meet Luana, we will take a, let's say, 10-minute break.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Now you look like your brain is very full. I'm just gonna take a picture of this and then I'm gonna. I feel bad for my sound is very bad, so me cannot hear anything in this chat.
We had the recording.
It's not,
Don't know what to.
it's hard for them to contribute.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
So I can have you for chicken and chicken.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Thank you.
Set it down.
It looks like a serial killer. My writing is very messy.
Very good, very good.
This is how you know I didn't grow up in Vietnam, you know? Vietnamese notes are always like beautiful, organized. But when you grow up in America and everything is free,
It's all over
it looks very crazy.
the writing on the wall and everything.
Yes, thank you, Wayne. Okay. Bernard, are you worried about anything? You look like worried.
No, it's all right. You know, it's teamwork, you know, I have some preferred concepts.
That's okay, and we can work those in. I just
Exactly.
you guys need there's bathrooms out there. There's more water too. I'll fill up the water bottle.
I'm good.
We'll check your messages.
Yeah. In my Zoom, you are recording. Maybe. But maybe I can make it smaller. Rồi. Không dừng lại được. Không dừng lại được. Dừng là không minimize á. Mình can làm nhỏ hơn cả và làm thumbnail á, mình cứ biết không được. Đi làm trong recording.
Is recording a string.
Yeah. You can make it smaller, but you cannot you minimize it 100%. It's okay. Yeah. Let's see what comes out of this, melting, melting pot of ideas. What I hope is that, not only we will come out from this with clear ideas, but then the whole process is interesting, to mobilize, motivate people around the same goals and focus, and then hopefully, I would suggest Laurent has just escaped, is that we would have the same process in Europe to mobilize again the boards, So the recording there here is important. Send this to them and see if they agree to have the same similar kind of process to focus on the French market.
So how often law compared to friends?
Sorry?
Yes.
How often law compared to friends?
Laurence,
Regular-
no,
It's traveling all the time. Basically in France, but all over the world.
so Dirax has an office here.
Yeah.
So I totally didn't understand that when I saw you. Oh, we still have a win outside. Yeah, I thought you were done with Vietnam.
Ah, okay.
Then I thought, so clearly I misunderstood.
He cannot, he has a Vietnamese wife.
Exactly.
You know, I tried to speak to him in French and then after about 5 minutes, it's like, I give up, no. Did not do it.
Yeah.
You know, my boyfriend's mother was very, very embarrassing. She came into our meeting and she said, she looked at Laurence's face. She goes, "Ah, you look so nice. You are not from Paris."
Isn't that?
And then you said, no, I'm from the south of France. And she went, that's it.
That's it.
That's why.
What is wrong with Paris?
Well, I will say she lives in Paris and she's kind of mean.
She has a,
But she's also from Haiphong, you know, so tough.
No match with Paris. Sorry.
no, but somebody from a woman from Haiphong
Who knows?
who lives for many years in Paris, that makes an interesting mix.
She's honest, very honest. No filter, no
Yeah.
soft,
C'est ça. No filter.
no filter.
I like Paris very much.
Yes, I also like Paris. This
Really,
is,
when I go to Europe, it's the preferred place I like to stay.
Yes.
By far.
I have cheese, I have pastries. What is there not to love? Wine?
Exactly. Except it's full of Parisians.
That is exactly what Morgan says.
That's the
I love
Yeah.
Paris if it wasn't.
Well,
for Parisians.
some,
But you know, he's also a Parisian, so it's like self-hatred.
Mm.
Okay. Give people a few more minutes.
yeah, so I was telling about, like, I hope the whole process will be very fruitful to make the team here stronger. Then I also hope that we could have one day the same process in France to make the board there, you know, more mobilized.
but it's a must.
Yeah.
It's a must.
Yeah.
Whatever you arrive here,
Yeah.
the board in France or Belgium needs to adhere to the vision, to
Yes,
everything.
we just cannot just copy and paste.
No, but they cannot be different.
Yeah, it cannot be different, but I think we need the same kind of, maybe it will be there will be a different focus, more in with the donors in mind and the French public in mind.
I don't know.
But I think very much, we need to have a similar kind
We
of.
need to align. We need to align.
Yeah, yeah.
To have everybody around the same mission, the same vision, the same strategy.
Yeah.
Once you're there, you're fine.
And
The
I-
problem is when you're not aligned, when
Yeah.
the Americans have a different vision, the Europeans a different vision, and the Vietnamese do what they want anyway, and there it's a mess.
I proposed a coach to Laurence, she's the president of Mekong Plus France.
Yes.
And she said, oh, I don't like this coach. I said, well, for me, the coach is just secondary. Take the opportunity of this exercise to make the board stronger
But
and.
you have the coach. You have the coach.
Yeah,
Okay, you don't need to coach.
well, it's true. I mean, yes, but now, how do you do now it in France?
So, you fly her to Paris.
In
It's done.
English, in English.
In English, yeah. It's okay.
Or we find, or Tom,
It's okay.
as
Just
long as the
need-
messaging is the
Yeah.
same, Tom, I mean, someone like Tom.
And you know, in any case, the people in Paris and Belgium, as long as you tell them this is our vision, our mission. That's what we are passionate about here on the ground. Since you are doing the work, they will be happy.
Well, here's what I would
It's
say.
difficult, you know. The horse is pretty difficult.
Okay, but
I must say that the message does change depending on the audience, right? So the message I use for Vietnamese corporates here is different than the Americans.
no, but I'm talking about the board of Mekong Plus.
Yes.
Yes, but you know, the president of the board, Dominique,
Yeah.
this is boring.
For the moment.
So this is a big problem,
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't know.
But,
I'm not, how not to be boring.
but when we finish here, it will not be boring.
I'm gonna add fireworks. Arno is gonna add fireworks to the website. It's gonna be amazing.
Exactly.
And if it is still boring, we will tell you.
So I used to work for this NGO in the US only for 1 year. They sold educational curriculum. It was very small NGO, and they were supporting children who were in prison in the US. And so in the US, all those prisons are run by private companies. They don't care about those kids. They don't care about anything. So they were selling these people curriculum so that the kids have schooling, right? But the NGO founder by the time I got to him, he was maybe 80, 81, 82 years old. And so he didn't quite understand how websites work. And he was like, every day he wanted a special, and he wanted like lights. And I was like, you have to remember, Mr. Benson, people are not going to our website every day. And he was like, they're not. No. We are just not that excited. But it's just to capture, when they do come, then you catch them. Okay, let me close the door. Then we can start.
We are locked up here.
You are locked up. Okay, so we will start again. The next part, I will just do some discussions about how maybe we start to talk about programs. But I will say that because we don't have time, of course we don't have time. How long do you all have? I can stay here as long as you want, but.
Yeah.
Well, our plan until 5 p.m. But was the original video. So.
But do you have a bus?
Right.
Okay. Okay. So we will just keep going until we get there. So we can aim to stop at around 4:30 or 5. Let's see how you feel in an hour. Okay. But so the second half, we will start to sort of go into how we begin to talk about programs. What I would like to see is a way of talking about the programs that is consistent, meaning each program we take a similar approach, right? But we won't have time to talk about each program activity. So that is the sort of intended takeaway of the second half. And then also discussion about how we talk about impact, because I think the word impact is a very loaded word and everyone has a different idea of what that means. So we should decide on what that means for us. And then the last thing is strategy, impact. And then the next steps, how we will follow up after this. Okay. Sorry, value proposition was the last one. The last one is talking about what makes Mekong Plus different.
Yes, that's the part that I'm most interested in.
Yeah.
I think without nailing that one,
then we're dead. I agree. But
if we can focus on that at some stage.
Yes.
And within the time frame, I think.
It's definitely part of the last big part.
That's great.
Okay, so when I look at what is expressed on the website versus Facebook versus your strategy document, Bernard, I see a different way about talking about programs. And so I would like to try to get to the same place. When I talk about theory of change, when I say this, I'm not saying necessarily that Mekong Plus has to start using this model. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just using it as a way of one way of starting to think about how we talk about programs, and then we can figure out the rest after. So I know Win has seen this before because he was in the training that we talked about, Win Center on theory of change. Other people may have seen it, other people may not have seen theory of change before. So it is a way that nonprofits in particular or social impact enterprises talk about basically their model or business model or organization model. And it also is a way of explaining to people how your programs and activities deliver on that big important mission. And later when we talk about reporting and impact, it's also a way that people talk about impact.
Excellent.
So I will just go through it very quickly, but then I will show you an example and then we'll go straight into Mekong Plus. So for example, in someone's theory of change, it doesn't always look linear like this. You would have your mission, and then you would show how all the inputs and resources of that organization go towards activities that you do in that organization and then come out to impact and which is discussed in outcomes and outputs. So very clearly. So for example, so just so you know, inputs is something that your organization uses in order to do its work. It's all the resources and capabilities you have. Activities would be like the program work, the work that is done, right? And then outputs, when we're talking about results, is very clearly like units of production, number of hours, number of people you're helping, number of scholarship, blah, blah, blah. And outcomes is the actual change that you're measuring in the short, medium, long term, in the villages, or with the people that you're working with. And then impact is the big, big picture impact, ultimate result if we've done this correctly. So I just give you a quick example again. For VITSEEDS is a simple one. So again, their mission is to invest in highly motivated students from underserved communities. Their inputs are the students, right?
Yeah.
And the staff. Their activities is the financial support that they provide, the training, and then they have mentorship. Outputs is these alumni that graduate, very clearly, the number of alumni that graduate. And the outcome is actually that longer term looking output, right, is how these alumni change into citizens and future leaders. And then the impact is that they are change makers in society. I will send this to you because I think it's too long to explain, but this is a more complicated one about a global school leadership program in Malaysia. And so you can see very clearly inputs, activities, and then the results.
So outputs are measurables, but outcomes are more general.
Outputs are measurable in terms of like they're quantitative, right? Whereas outcomes are like that change, qualitative change.
Excellent.
Okay, so now we get to you.
Mekong Plus.
So if you look at originally that sort of model, I talked about the theory of change. I reorganized it to some very simple questions, right? So if we assume for now that the mission is the supporting rural and poor communities in reducing poverty, right? And moving towards sustainable development. And that is something that they participate in, right? What I saw from the website is basically you have 4 program areas. And you can correct me if I'm wrong too. Education, microfinance, infrastructure, and environment. So the way that I would like to start talking about those 4 program areas is answering these very simple questions, right? And so maybe what it is that in the future, when we have all these communication messages compiled, is that maybe there is, for example, a 1 page on education program, 1 page on microfinance, blah, blah, blah. In a power that you would bring to a donor, you would not have all 4 program areas, maybe you're only pitching 1 program, right? Or if we are doing a cruise, maybe you're only talking about 1 thing, but it helps us at least approach those 4 areas in the same way. So what I would like us to do is pick 1 program and then go through these questions as a means of like practicing whether these are the things that we want to answer.
No?
Yeah.
Which one?
Anyone feels
I
strong?
propose to drop infrastructure. We can discuss in the 3 hours.
Or if you want, I can divide the room. So 3 of you focus on one program, 3 of you focus on another program.
I think separately, each group feel a different.
Yes, that's harder for them.
It's harder for them.
Okay, so let's pick one program. So what program would you like to choose?
Let's do one together and then maybe split after.
So I think one together and then later I will come back to the group to help me fill in the rest. Wait, choose.
I think this is education.
Okay,
Education.
so if you were doing education, and so I'm gonna tell you this is the first question is the hardest one. So education, what is the problem you're trying to address or solve?
I think mostly the poor student and the poor family don't have the opportunities for their children's education access. Yes, access.
Access.
So you mean they don't have a school?
Yes, I mean because of have less income, so the priority that is the food or the health, maybe their priority.
So the children do not go to school at all.
No. They drop out from high school, but for college and high school, it's almost compulsory to have extra classes, which is extremely expensive. So this is access.
Okay, so you see, it's so everybody goes to school, but in order to succeed, they need to have private lessons.
Yeah.
So wait, I'm hearing different things and I think we need to make sure we cover them, right? So the big problem, and I don't think that's a wrong thing to say, is that lack of access.
Yeah.
Now, the lack of access to education or resources or what?
So it's an access, it can be financially difficult to access, but sometimes maybe also just geographically difficult to access.
From what I understand talking with Bernard, it's not lack of access to education. It is lack of capacity to succeed. And in order to succeed, you need not only to have access to education, but you need a lot of support at home with more hours of teacher who care about you, so that they actually bring you to a succeeding level. And this costs a lot of money.
I want to read the contribution from Shang.
Please.
Better education, access for going poor students via scholarships programs, and enhance students and teachers' knowledge and skills through training.
So if I was going to write a problem for that, that means, let me say that again, better information access for going poor students. So one thing I will say that I'm hearing, because I know you do more than, it's not just scholarships, you're doing, perhaps you do, tell me all of your, let's start with.
Teachers training.
Teacher training, right? So then we're not only talking about.
You are paying private lessons.
No.
I'm trying to get the right word. What are you doing?
No, I mean, scholarships is one.
Scholarship means you pay the school.
No, pay the students.
You pay the family of the student.
Yeah.
You give them money.
Yeah.
So that they
can afford
to
buy books, etc., and the extra classes.
To buy books and extra classes.
Yeah.
Extra classes meaning private lessons.
Yeah, but yes, I mean private in quotes, because almost everybody has to take them and from the same teacher.
Let me go to number 2 real quick, because I think we will go back to number 1.
Okay.
Because I think you will see number 1 differently after you go through number 2 and 3. So what resources are you bringing to this problem?
Cash.
So I'm hearing cash for families, right? For students. Correct? What else?
Staff.
Staff. are you also doing teacher training or no?
Community mobilization.
So this is also, this part is like question of inputs, right?
Yeah.
Community mobilization. And you mean by that, what do you mean? You mean part,
Well, the scholarship program works because we have the community mobilized. And how do we do that? The people run. We had almost 200,000 people running last year. And they contributed $64,000 financially for the scholarship fund. So this is why the scholarship program has an impact. It works. Because the scholarship we give is very small. It's about 15% of the cost of the education, 1.5. So it is very small contribution, but because of the community mobilization, it works.
so when we say teacher training, are you giving the curriculum? Are you giving, what are the hard things? You're giving.
Pedagogy.
Pedagogy.
We are teaching.
Okay, so then activities are actually the scholarships, right? The teacher training. You're not delivering the training, you're just delivering the pedagogy.
No, we have a teachers training on environment, gender, sex, health.
I thought you are also supporting schools and other things?
But when the school performs, then we have a co-funding to improve the sanitation of the school.
And you also have a school sanitation project. I mean, I know that these are
Yeah.
together, but.
Yeah.
Anything else? Activities? Inside education program?
I've heard this running stuff. I guess this running stuff is about in order to collect more money. So this is an activity that is contributing to the overall outcome, right?
Yeah, well, it's raising the awareness of the parents and the community of the importance of education. So that the fathers feel compelled to let their children go to school. Because we've given this scholarship to 2% of the children. A very small fraction, but we believe that through this community mobilization, the impact is much more than 2%. Many more children, many more parents are actually motivated to about the school because of this. Yeah, imagine that 200,000 people running. It's massive. It's a big publicity.
Starting the engine, basically.
Yeah, it's a big publicity for the program. It's people laughing and it's joyful, etc. So it's not a punishment. It's they love it.
Parent awareness.
Yeah.
So the scholarships, let me make sure I understand, the scholarships are cash.
Yeah.
For tuition, is it also covered tutoring or no?
And for books.
Well, I mean, it's just a general spot. We don't say how they need to spend.
Okay.
Are you also giving scholarships to the schools?
No.
That's pretty clear then. Good. So now, if I'm looking at what you do and what goes into that, so then we go back to the problem that you're trying to solve.
Because, pardon me, just a little parenthesis.
Yes.
In the US,
Yes.
corporations,
Yes.
donors,
Yes.
they don't give to this student or that student because he's poor, he needs it. They give to the university, isn't it? Isn't there a kind of supporting program of university that corporations are giving?
So it depends.
I saw that in the US, the university are very rich because they get a lot of donations
They're very rich for lots of reasons.
from corporates and the students.
Same as in Vietnam, just different in scale. There are corporations that give scholarships directly through the university. There are also corporates that give scholarships directly to students.
Okay, both.
Or to nonprofits that give to students.
Okay.
So for example, I was a recipient of a scholarship that was direct to me.
Okay. One contribution from Luana. Education is also for adults.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, it's, you can say education, we have many training programs.
We have many,
Which are not
yeah.
school-based, they are community-based.
I see. Okay,
Yes.
interesting.
Teaching skills and so on, skill education.
Almost like a centre de formation.
Women's groups, farmers groups,
Okay, okay, good to know. Okay.
That's really good, actually. I didn't know that.
And also-
You mean vocational training or something else?
you can say, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, for women's group, it will be about domestic violence, about sex, or about employment, handicrafts, so many
Yeah.
farmers. It will be about agricultural techniques.
Also, when we say students, it's also starting like from an early age. It's not like students in the sense.
Kindergarten.
Oui, non, c'est ça. C'est les étudiants, mais c'est pas.
Kindergarten, we go to kindergarten to identify children with special difficulties.
Ah,
Who can see properly, who cannot hear properly, or who don't remember. So then we try to direct them to the program for children with special needs.
because when we say students, some people might understand like university students, but students of all ages. The pupils, yeah.
Okay. We getting closer? Okay. If we see the programs as, the projects within education as scholarships, teacher training, school sanitation, parental awareness, and adult education in these different areas, what are your outputs? And you actually don't have to answer that now, but meaning, we don't have to be super specific, but then it's, I assume number of students, the scholarship, number of teachers, the training, anything else? Number of parents from who have been doing these awareness programs. And the other outputs, of course, hours. We also get hours of training, by the way. As an example. So the reason I put these out there for you, the reason actually I put these questions together is there are different donors that this information appeals to. So some donors are only going to care about how many core students you supported. But some donors actually might care about the number of hours that you did training, number of blah, 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 right? Number of sessions, and blah, blah, blah. So this is also why we can track this. And then your expected outcomes, short, medium, long term, this is just a brainstorming exercise.
Access to middle class somehow, I guess.
It would be more like a change. What's the change, right? What's the change you see if everything goes well?
Higher standards of living.
Yeah, it's a long term one.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, for sure. For example, it will be,
As Bernard said, just people engaged, not on the short term, have them engaged in and concerned with education. That's, yeah, I think that should be the short term.
Same with that, no? You can send it to the
The meeting,
Zoom. You can send out some information. Thank you, you're there. Okay.
what is your, for an education program in particular, what is that long-term change you want to see? If the problem is lack of access to education and training, and you succeed, and poor kids get equal access to all these different opportunities, then what is the outcome? Why is it so hot in here?
You're moving too much.
I guess it's the same than get seats that you showed us before,
Replay.
which was I forgot, but it was something a bit general about the more higher standard pay of working class or whatever. I forgot what was the words. But it was. Can we go back just a few slides?
No.
No.
And here's why I say no.
Okay.
It's because when you start talking to, I mean, for the fundraisers in the room, not for our whole, when we start talking to donors and they said, and it gets back to why do you care? Why do I care? Right? You're talking to me and I'm a corporate or I am a rich person, Vietnamese person with lots of money. Why should I care? Right? And you say, you should give me money for these scholarships. And I say, why? What is the outcome? What is the point? Right? You have to be able to actually speak to that.
It's to be the long term, to get out of the cycle of poverty.
Ding.
It's also an access to job.
Yes.
More skills for your company.
Access to jobs, to a future, right? This is like a different, this goes back to sort of some of our mission vision talk, but for programs, right? And so we need to be able to say these things.
Yeah.
This is that part is very important. But answering these questions gets you to that, right? And so when we have pitches and proposals and whatever, that expected outcome question, actually NGOs spend the least amount of time on that question. Including my own before. Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of follow-up on this part, I will work with the different fundraisers based on the information you have, from your different proposals on each program area, and then try to put this together. But I will need your support to help me with that, because I don't know enough about each area.
Yes. And just one question. How many Vietnamese donors are giving for this education program?
So currently we are trying to raise a crowdfunding on the Momo platform, Momo electronic wallet. And EAC has also a platform for raising funds, but mostly from Facebook, website also have some, but it's individual again. They donate the small. Yeah.
What about the big donor?
Big donors.
Somebody will give $10,000, $5,000. Do you have
Vietnam based?
Yes.
But not Vietnamese.
Vietnamese? I want Vietnamese.
So if we're talking in general about the market, right? So outside of Mekong Plus, of course, for Vietnamese, for Chinese, Hong Kong, Singaporeans, education is the biggest area where people give, right? It's part of our culture, right, to give in education, to support education.
I know a few, very rich Vietnamese. When I say rich, I mean billions of dollars, okay?
Yeah.
Real estate, land, gold, okay. Why don't they give to that?
You don't need them.
Is it just that?
I have no access. I have no access.
But my question is very specific, because unless you solve that question, why would a foreigner give when even the rich Vietnamese, they don't give?
Yes.
So I would like to see the rich Vietnamese to give a little bit, okay, give a little bit to their means, maybe $5,000, $10,000, and rich foreigner from America or Europe to give 100,000, 200,000 foundation, but they will be relieved to know that it is not just the rich foreigner who give, but also the rich Vietnamese, they also give. The fact that you tell me, well, actually, rich Vietnamese, they don't give to that, it makes me worried as a foreign donor. So you need to, we should dig a little bit.
Well, based on, I mean, based on Momo is different.
Momo is
right?
not.
So,
Why is it different?
because Momo is more on the micro donor side, not on the major donor side,
Yes.
right?
But we
No.
get about $50,000.
But you will not get $5,000 donors.
No, I'm not saying, actually, so what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is, at this moment, we do not have the data here in this table on why people are not giving to education for Mekong Plus, right? So I already know, I don't know the answer to that.
But
I can answer to questions about just the greater, Ho Chi Minh City, rich Vietnamese people thing. But part of that, I think, will change once we start doing, hopefully, once we start doing all the work together, right? Because we will make part of my job here in the next 6 months is to outline a target list of rich donors, right? And in that target list, also highlight what their motivations are. Why do they give? Which is different than why we are doing the work, right? And so part of that will be identifying who is interested in education, who is interested in microfinance, and why, and environment. And environment is also a newly popular program, right, for people to give to. But in Vietnam, it's also a little bit sensitive, right? Cambodia, less sensitive, I think, but I could be wrong about that. And this also looks different in Cambodia than it does in Vietnam, right? So we definitely can get to those questions once we actually have the toolkit to go to donors and then trying to figure out who wants to give to what.
But may I still ask the question? Do you allow me then?
No, please.
I mean, the fact that Bernard has been more talking to foreigner donor and he not necessarily know the Vietnamese who to talk to, I can understand. But you guys, you are local. You have your NGO. You have your NGO. You know very well who have money in Vietnam.
And he tried.
What-
He tried.
Exactly. So
Maybe he can give some feedback.
from your own words, say, why don't these people give to you money to do these great things?
I also tried with some my friend first to talk about education, and then I also show them some case about this and ask to support them. But on what I feel, on what I feel, maybe I think the culture of Vietnamese people is much more different from outside.
So I think you are right
How is it different?
in that. Sorry, Huyen, I see you.
Especially I try to access to some company in Vietnam. But maybe the regulations are really the tax if they donate for the charities or the NGOs different from the foreign companies.
Yeah.
So it's our advance for the Vietnamese. They less focus on NGOs for all
Give to the family, give to the pagoda,
Correct.
but not for an NGO.
Yeah.
Yes.
So at the moment, so Samigo every year does a market research on philanthropy in Vietnam. They did it with Lynn Center and with Saigon Children Charity last year and the year before. There's also a survey called Doing Good in Asia, and they also survey Vietnamese also in that. So one, it is true in the culture, Vietnamese do not, and it makes sense, do not trust NGOs yet, NGOs yet. They don't trust organizations that are there only on humanitarian basis. For them, it's like, why would you do that? Number one. Also because there is an existing structure of trusting your church or trusting your pagoda.
Yeah.
And when the other part of our giving that is a little bit different than US is there's a lot of giving around disasters, because Vietnam constantly has disasters. We have flood every year, we have storm, typhoon, right? And that is also when you see people give money. But things that are a little bit more, because we're still just becoming middle income. And so as a developing country before, we were thinking about very short-term disaster things, right? Education is a long-term thing.
But, to reinforce this argument, Shine in her project, they raised $1,000 in 24 hours. Because for a case in the community. There was an accident in 24 hours,
Correct.
$1,000. Okay, in Cambodia, they raised also money. Okay, maybe not $1,000, but they want to give it to the staff.
Yeah,
They don't want to give it to the bank account.
yeah,
So much that they trust the people.
yeah.
They don't trust maybe the organization so much.
Yeah.
So, but you have also to consider that, $1 for in Vietnam should be equivalent to about $10 in Europe. Okay, maybe it's not much money, but how can we raise, $10,000 in 24 hours in France? This is also something, it's to keep the proportions correctly.
I mean, and your experience with Momo is actually a very good one.
Yeah.
You raise more on Momo than other NGOs in Vietnam, right?
Yeah, they like us.
One of the reason is they trust you. You do very nice storytelling, right? And it is still very personal, this Momo thing. So it's like, if you look at Giving the Asia and Momo, people are giving lots of money for children who need operation, right? Because they have the face and they see the story. And it is different in the US now. We are very distant from that. In Europe, also very distant. So we give money to the organization and we don't care about we don't need the outcome, right? But this in Vietnam will change too over time.
Okay. But when you give $5 on Momo, you don't need to justify to anybody.
No.
You don't need to explain.
Okay.
You don't need to make report.
Yeah.
You don't need to anything. Just you give. Okay. When you give $5,000 to Mekong Plus or whatever, if it is on a personal money, you need to talk to your wife. Right? If it is company money or foundation donation money, you need to make a report. You say, I have selected Mekong Plus because this, because that. So we need to justify, right? Right. So I think that it will be very, 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 very difficult to justify if even a Vietnamese donor don't give. Because I take the example from America. From America, Vietnam, they think the war, etc. So level one, distrust.
Yeah.
I don't trust Vietnamese. Start from there. Okay. But we work, we do beautiful website, we do communication. Okay. Take out distrust barrier level one. Boom. Okay, we enter. There is it. Okay. But then the second barrier is, I am a foreigner, you want my money. How about the local people? Do they give? Yeah. And if you say, no, they don't give, they just wait the money from the foreigner, they say, why? They know better, Even the rich people in Vietnam, maybe one day they were poor before becoming successful. So they know that there is a countryside, they know there are villages, they know there are very, very, very poor people, very good people, even in their staff, they're very good people that they support, but still giving to NGO, Mekong Plus or local, no. Why? And I think you need to ask yourself why 1,000 times until you find the real reason why people don't give. Because the day you address this reason, you will see that all the foreign donors will unlock also,
So I do think there's one thing.
We did not get this message across, in that the people say we believe the first priority is access to education, and they run and they make donations. We mobilize 200,000 people for running 2 kilometers and to give $64,000. I mean, you have to see. No, I'm very angry when you say that. You should see this little girl holding a $5,000, 5,000 Vietnam dong note to make that donation. I mean, this matters for them.
You should open your ears and listen to me. Okay, I am not talking about the $5 donation where you have no report to do. That's not what I'm talking about. We are chasing the international donors or the big Vietnamese donors. And I'm saying to you, if you find why local big donors, not $5,000 or whatever, once you find, you unlock this code there, and you find the reason why these people do not give to their own countrymen.
Because you say that the Vietnamese don't give.
No,
You right.
the big donors, not the $5.
So here's what I will say.
On sait pas quoi, je vais pas avancer. Arrête avec les gars qui donnent $5. Arrête avec les gars qui participent. Les petits. Moi, je te parle des gros donateurs. Je te parle des gros donateurs. Et ces gros donateurs, ils doivent faire un rapport à des gens pour expliquer pourquoi ils donnent.
But you say because they don't give because they believe the Vietnamese people don't give. But I'm telling you, they do.
So, sorry, wait.
Pas les Vietnamiens, je te dis les grands donateurs vietnamiens. Les grands donateurs, pas les mecs qui donnent des $5.
They don't know.
I am going to
They
shift
don't know what
to,
they're doing.
I'm going to shift
This is
to,
the reason.
I'm going to shift to for a moment because it is not becoming a productive conversation. Because actually both of you are saying the same thing at the same time
I
and
don't think so.
saying it again and again. No. Here's what I would say. Based on my experience in fundraising in Vietnam, Vietnamese do give, but yes, wealthy Vietnamese of a certain level do not give in the same way. So part of my, support for Mekong Plus moving forward in the next 6 months is that we will go after this target market and try to understand better how they give, why they give, and sometimes why they don't give, right?
Exactly.
And then figure out how we can squeeze Mekong Plus in. Yes, please.
Okay, each project is supported by local people and also the authorities. For example, for a house, we give $500. But actually, this is equivalent to about 15% of the total cost. The rest is from the community, from the local authorities, etc.
So I do appreciate this idea that we're talking about now because it will be infused into the communications about the local support and engagement and partnership. This is part of the story of Mekong Plus, right? And to Laurent's part about large scale donors in Vietnam, we will have to do the research to see how much is possible and how we target that.
Yes, this problem, I really thanks for your advice. So, foreign rising funds in Vietnam, and currently we are focused really much for this market. Firstly, when the people donate through Momo, there are many rich people.
Yeah.
Even though they donate for $1,000 or $2,000, it's easy for them.
Yeah.
But firstly, we need to build our Pinkies feature.
Yes.
So, okay, Pinkies are doing this. Maybe they donate without concerned about the report, but they look at our logo, our brand, and they understand these organizations are working for students who are just small. They just have the expression in the brand. And step by step, we try to find the bigger funders.
Yeah.
Yes, because now we also have some funders, some companies in Vietnamese, they decided to fund for Pinkies. However, they just make the small donation. But we need to make the trust. We are just small, but we have to report them carefully, keep in touch with them as well. Maybe one day our network is going to be bigger and I can find bigger funders. But step by step, we trying to do that. Firstly, for presentations as World Economy to improve our capacities. And secondly, we focus on the digital marketing.
Yes. So you see, for instance, on Vietnam Plus website, on Vietnam, on Mekong Plus website, if I am a donor, yes, and I'm about to give $10,000 for Mekong Plus, even though I am in New York and I don't know Vietnam much, but for some reason, okay. Before I look at the Mekong Plus website, and I'm looking in the testimonials from the other donors who know Vietnam. who know Vietnam? But the Vietnamese. So I'm going to go into the Vietnamese donors and I'm going to look at what they say. They say, I give to Mekong Plus because. So I think until you don't have these testimonials, that the foreign donors can read and say, the local, they trust this organization, number one. Because anyway, everybody knows that in Vietnam there is corruption everywhere, okay? And you cannot give money even to the country. So once you pass this and say, okay, I'm still worried about the organization, how about, so I go and I see a local guy who give $1,000 or $100 or whatever. But he say, I give because Mekong Plus is an honest organization, well organized, with all the good reason.
Yeah, okay.
As a foreign donor, I see that in English, I feel better to give $10,000 suddenly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but there is one link that is missing, you know, how the rich people in Vietnam, how committed, how interested, how aware are they about poverty and what can be done for the poor people in Vietnam? There is this gap, huge gap.
That's what you say. That's what you say. I don't agree to that, but
I will also
I
say,
think you don't know necessarily every rich people in Vietnam.
I will also say one more thing about foreign donors, because foreign donors is my niche. Is no one is going to give to Mekong Plus if they don't already have a relationship with Vietnam or Cambodia. Right? And that's, or someone who has a relationship with, right? So
In Europe, some people do give without so much relationship.
yes, but that is a very lucky thing. And I think the strategic way to go about this fundraising effort first is to find the low-hanging fruit, right? Which is the people who have money, who already have, number one, believe what you believe, right? That I still feel very strongly about that. And two, have some kind of relationship with Vietnam and Cambodia. Or someone who does, right? So for example, when we do this fundraising effort, if it's possible in the US, of course, I will not just have a campaign inviting people who never heard of Vietnam, because it takes too long. Strategically, it takes too long for me to explain the problems of Vietnam to those people. Most likely, I will start with the Vietnamese community, right? Who have money now, and then say, you miss your home country, Mekong Plus is doing A, B, and C. Inside Vietnam, the foreigners that give, it's also because they, like you, they love this country, right? They live here, they have a relationship with it, and that is that first tier of people that we will focus on.
A very large part of the donors in Europe, actually people who have been on the biking program under the cruise. Okay? For a very large part. They know the project, they have seen them.
And I think just strategically speaking, so you know, we as a small team don't waste time, right? That is the first focus, first target. And so in the communications that we will work on together, that is the audience in mind. Of course, you are sometimes lucky, right? You catch some of these other people who may give, but we don't actually know how to find those people. They will find us on their own. But the most important part is to be able to capture that strategic audience, the one that we already will have some kind of contact with.
Yeah. And the reason why I give to Mekong Plus is only because my personal relation with Laurent Villeneuve.
Correct.
Because if I had not that, how would I know?
But you are right that, like, I mean, I was just in France and I went to a Vietnamese street food festival. And I met Viet Kieu, who asked me, why do you live in Vietnam? Oh my God. And then I told them, I love working in Vietnam. I love this place. I love but because they don't know, right? Then
Exactly.
And I thought to myself, I am not asking this lady for a donation because she doesn't have enough connection.
Exactly. So basically, if at one stage I would have had a beer meeting with Bernard somewhere or somebody else talking to me about Mekong Plus, say, okay, potential donation, why not? I would go to the website, but I can assure you, the first thing I will look at is even the locals giving? Are they giving? And why? You know, why? Because there is hundreds of NGOs competing, yeah. So you don't need to do good things. You need to do it not only better than the other, but with the trust better than the other. So that it's sure, right? And you guys are there for how many years? You say 35 years?
Yeah.
So in 35 years, you've done so much good that you've got, for sure, you've got gold in your hands to convince any rich Vietnamese that you are the good guys and that their money is going to be well used, right? And what I still don't get is why this doesn't show, at least in the communications that we have.
I mean, I don't know. Do you have information about this? I mean, who are the rich Vietnamese giving to silent charity? This is or Operation Smile. You know, Operation is a very high visibility. You know, rich Vietnamese giving to them. I don't. I mean, I know silent charity is basically getting foreign funds.
That's why it's very, they should know, having tried to talk and say to some people.
No, excuse me.
Right?
But no, but well,
We have been
I
trying.
will also say, remember, the point of this project is to build capacity to do those things too.
Yeah.
If they've also been doing other things, other work, other way. So we will get there when we get there. And I agree that part of the storytelling that we should do in the future on the website, which I'm assuming you already do in places, right? Is about the storytelling about the donors who support me too. So for example, I remember the LinkedIn post about Dominic. And Dominic is a very reputable figure in Vietnam, right?
I mean, he's not Vietnamese, right?
Yeah, but he speaks Vietnamese like a Vietnamese.
No.
I'm just saying as an example, that's one profile, right? But then there are other profiles that we will also follow.
But I mean, even his profile, people just read, they see he lives in Vietnam, right? So that's a very good reference. It's an excellent reference. It's a good start. Let's put it that way. But you are 35 years in the country, so you should have experience of the not even not the foreigner, but Vietnamese. Giving $100, giving.
I'm worried we're going to start making Tan feel very old.
But anyway, please carry on.
So the two last things I want to go over in terms of how we start talking about Mekong Plus is how we discuss. Actually, this is very much in line with what you're talking about, impact and results, right? So after we have figured out how to talk about the programs and all of these expected results, right? Then how do we also report on them in a very attractive way? And just as an example,
KPI.
Yeah.
it because it all is part of the same picture, right?
Yes.
So after, and this, by the way, is Vina Capital Foundation's website. It's very easy to see what they do and what some very simple examples of results. It doesn't mean this is all the results, right? But something that is easy for people to understand. So 9,601 free heart surgeries, 200 blah 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 1,000.
What about the books? What is the books about?
1,382 students, ethnic minority students, are supported with scholarships. 6 million beneficiaries, health in, I don't know that part. So again, another example quickly is Saigon Children's Charity, right? This doesn't have to be done. I used to do this for East Meets West. So I will say this does not need to be done every month, every 2 months. It could be done every 6 months, every year, right? It doesn't have to be something crazy.
Every year is fine.
And we don't have to choose. Yes.
It's on the website.
But it's on the website. But when I looked at the strategy
It's not visible now, but I'm working on it.
Okay.
document, it actually goes back to that theory of change, right? If you have it anchored in a strategy, then the impacts stand out more. You understand what that means, right? And then we go to here. This is exactly what we're talking about, what Laurent just brought up. This also, I know you already have. I'm just mentioning again to emphasize, right? Program updates. that personal story, organizational impact, and then donor impact.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna need for the website.
And those things can be honestly prepared again every quarter, every 6 months. It doesn't have to be a really exhausting thing. So I have noticed also the e-newsletter is really starting to look good too. I see the pieces are coming together, right? And then the channels, the social media.
Do you have the donors testimonials as well in there? I didn't see the
last one,
the partner storytelling.
breakdown, donor funding, partner storytelling.
Yeah, so I guess
I give because,
that's what it means, partner storytelling, is it?
yeah. And then the channels, oh, sorry. My computer went. So I know some of you are already working on this. Part of what I hope to do too when I work on with the fundraisers is making sure that this system just becomes part of you already have it, but I just need, for example, every time a big donor comes in or every time a big project is finished, that automatically then we're looking at all 5 channels and trying to figure out how it goes out. Right? Because it also goes back to giving you legitimacy, sharing with other people so they share with other people about how you are trustworthy, right? Okay, value proposition. This is the last baby, the big part. So, and this goes to what Laurent also just brought up. I would like to know from all of you, and I also, the reason I have this part is because Bernard looked at me in our last meeting and I was arguing with him. I was arguing about lots of things. And then he said, you know, I don't think you understand. Mekong Plus is a little bit special. But then I ended the meeting and I left. So if we are going to go to donors with better communications, better information, one of the most important things.
Everybody wants to reduce poverty.
What can we say makes Mekong Plus special?
Yeah.
And one of the things I would say, for example, as an example answer to that question, is a lot of people in this room have been working with Mekong Plus for over 5+ years, 20 years, right? So obviously there is something there. So you have capabilities, you have experts, you have specialization in the communities where you're working, right? But we need to start being very specific about this. What are you proud of at Mekong Plus? And then once we know those things, then we can figure out who we should target.
Are we speaking next, right?
No, I think at this point, you can speak first.
For me, I mean, that's how I started. What makes Mekong Plus special is the people's participation. We do nothing, we don't do the head of there. Every program, every single program, housing, finance, education, everything, people's participation is massive. Yes. You know, we give a scholarship to 2% children, but we have 200,000 people running and contributing, you know, their effort and their money.
Yes.
So this is for me the core. That's how it works. That's why we managed to achieve a lot with very little.
Yes.
I love that phrase, why we achieve a lot with very little.
Yes.
Because actually it's a lot, I mean.
The only problem.
Wait, we're not doing problems yet. We're only doing brainstorms. Right now, only positive, and then we come back.
Yeah.
What makes me complex?
American thinking.
Oh, it's true, actually. It's very American of me to be like, only good things. Luana, maybe if you can speak to what you think makes Mekong Plus special. Also 20+ years.
The success of the program.
In what way?
How do you measure it?
There is yes, expert teams committed, and also the impact on the population.
One thing I will say that is different based on what Luana said, just to emphasize, is honestly, most INGOs, their teams are in Hanoi, or their teams are in Ho Chi Minh or Phnom Penh. They're not in the field. And that was actually what we were arguing. But how much staff should you have in Ho Chi Minh, right? This is what we were arguing about. But this is definitely what makes Mekong Plus special. Yes, 0 staff, which means they're where they're supposed to be. Right? It means that you're working with the partner organizations. You're working with the.
It depends. It can be. I believe it is a strength, and don't get me wrong. But I'm doing my devil advocate, and I say, okay, well, these guys have a representative in every village of Vietnam. And basically all the donation money goes in pay salaries for people at their desk in every village of Vietnam. So actually $0 is going to the family. I'm
Actually, it's the opposite. If most people would say if you had a big staff in Ho Chi Minh City, they would say, why are my funds paying for some rich girl in Ho Chi Minh City named Danny? As opposed to
so I'm pushing it further. Not only I don't want to pay for this girl in Ho Chi Minh City and her car, but also I want to pay for somebody in every village who is actually playing the role of the government to receive the poor people, to help and assist them. Actually, I want my money from New York, from my pocket. I want my money to go directly to the family.
Laurent, if you can do it, please.
Yeah.
Nobody can.
Wait, we're not having this argument. What we're having still is the question of, and remember, this is an open brainstorm. I am doing it American style. No criticism yet.
Exactly.
Just do what do you think makes you guys stand out? And when you say the success of the program or impact, I also want to hear what you think that impact is, right? Compared to, another NGO program.
For me, we are focused on people. The human aspect. I counted that we have given more than 200,000 microloans up to now. And our failure rate is.
You mean 200,000 in dollars or 200,000 number of loans?
Loans.
Number of loans.
Yeah,
That's
not beneficiaries, but loans. Okay. And we have less than 1/10%. Not refunded. So this is the proof that the program is very adequate to the people's needs. And it's a proof also that there is a strong feeling between, this is what actually showed when we had this shadow group visiting. They were astounded to see how strong the feeling was between the staff and the villagers. Very, very close. So I think for me, this is very important. The human aspect of the whole programs. Actually, in the micro credit program, half is spent on capital, and the other half is training, coaching, taking care of the children. All this. This is why it works.
So
then, just to reemphasize what Bernard said, part of that is also the efficiency of resources. Meaning, you're saying that the amount of money that you brought in and in the way that's delivered, right?
There is not a single staff sitting in the office, actually. Even the accountant is spending about 2/3 of its time, of her time, in the field. Field people are actually the villages most of the time. You can call them, and most of the time they are not there. They are not in the office. So these are not overheads.
Yeah, it's especially most of the staff, they are grow in that area, that community, so they probably want the people they are in charge of.
Yes, so please don't get me wrong. I agree with that. I know that. And I truly believe this is your strength. Okay. But at the same time, I say you need to show in your communication, to show it. It does not show enough.
Yes.
You claim that it is like that. Okay? Now you need to demonstrate, because every NGO is saying that. Yes, everybody knows that every NGO is from in their big office in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh, but every NGO, when you look at their website, you see them holding the hand of the poor people with a nice picture in the village, all of them. Okay, now on Mekong Plus website, we can see this, we can see that, to see that it is not just a nice picture. They prove it. You know, they say they are different because of that, and they prove it. We didn't see this in the on this other NGO from Hanoi. Actually, they just have one little picture, but zero proof, right? So it's the proof that we need to insist on, because this is your core asset. So your core asset, you need to show it, right?
So that means I want pictures of you and your friends at home, not drinking beer, yeah.
Exactly.
Paying for their money like this. Anyone else have any idea on what you think, you know, there's a reason why you are here, right?
What did you do different? What makes you different? Is it this? That's it. Which is it's a good thing. I think that for instance, you know, I mean, one thing that we can ask ourselves is to say, okay, you are very efficient and you use the local network you have in order to work with the people, and you give money to the people who help themselves because they are hardworking. So that means that somehow you must be able to. It would be nice if you could measure this almost like a return on investment.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that.
No, we
Yeah.
talked about
So
that.
I give $1, but I get back $200. And this, because we are NGO, we don't do for profit. This $200, we add it to the $10 donation we give, and we give 200, and we recycle, and we balloon. You know, it would be nice that we see some kind of measurement of your action.
Let me ask another question, just
Yeah.
for, this is actually my favorite question to ask at NGO meetings. So let's say I gave you $10 million right now, Bernard, and just pulled it out of my pocket. What are the places in your organization where you would want to expand, right? Or scope, or scale up, or what would you want to develop with that 10 million, let's say 10 million euros?
Okay, I think that what we would say is, can you spread it over a period of 10 years? Okay, because in 1 year, no,
I got it.
give it back, take it back. You know, we cannot spend in 1 year $10 million.
Let's say you can put it in
Sure.
reserves.
I'm sure Luana could put this in a nice working account with some interest.
Yeah.
Oh, true, with the tax and everything. Anyway, but let's say, you don't have to worry about tax. You don't have to worry about implementing it in 1 year, but I give you 10 million euros that can sit in a bank account, and you can spend it however you want, when you want. So yes, of course, you can spend it over 10 years.
Yeah, well, and I would definitely say a microfinance and access to education.
Wait, when, how would
Innovative,
you,
some innovative programs.
like,
Well, we have and then, you know, waste to energy program, which is, people say, oh, it's fantastic, but then nobody funds it.
Yeah.
And we want to prove that it can be done.
And-
It has been done in France, in many countries, but why not in Vietnam?
so it gives you some flexibility with
Some
new innovation, right? And,
Yeah.
why would you spend 10 million?
Yeah, I also think spend it on the micro loan and education scholarship for children. Because this is our two main program. Other program just supportive for the micro loan.
For the micro people, they use in order to invest into their tooling and things like that for agriculture or things like that, right?
Yeah.
So for their effort there. And then when they get the benefit, then they give you back the money, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you do this for scholarship?
You mean loans to students?
Yes. After 35 years, somebody you have supported at the time where he had nothing, that has grown, that has become an engineer, then president of a Vietnamese company, why isn't this guy giving you back 10,000-fold what you supported him with at the time where he was in his little village? Why?
Because we don't run this, the project as a bank, but they give back to the community. So there are many examples. Like Mansa, extremely poor family, single mother. Okay, this girl, she's bright, and she got a scholarship from Mekong Plus, went all the way to a university degree in Phnom Penh. Now she's an accountant in the company, and she's sending money back to other children in the village. And there are many cases like this.
Okay.
Let me read Shang's text. We are special and different from other organizations because we never support 100%. All projects, people must be involved. The second thing is we start from what they have and then train them up to improve. For example, when we support a poor household to grow vegetables, we choose the family where they already are growing vegetables and then train them on the benefits of the net house. And then they will follow and then they will succeed. They will continue to do it and expand their own models.
Very good.
I do like that part, that idea about, it is very special to Mekong Plus, this idea that it is not charity who are really just supporting the next phase, right? The next moving up.
So this lady that you just mentioned,
Mansa, yeah.
Mansa, we have an interview of her
Yeah.
where she says all the good things she got from Mekong Plus.
So I'll see on the Facebook and LinkedIn several times.
Okay.
But there are many other cases.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Maybe we should, cultivate this idea that, show how the people give back. There are many examples.
Exactly.
So the reason I also asked about what makes you special and what you would do with 10 million euros is this reason. Is that let's say at some point we do find, Dominic is a great example, a donor, he's new. Some of those large donors, they like to do new things. So they don't want to just give 25,000 and then it just goes to scholarships. They're okay with that, but they also want to have their own footprint or want to help Mekong Plus also expand, right? Change the way they're doing programs. So for example, you basically said, if you have 10 million euros, one of the things you want is to be able to do some more flexible, innovative, things. And so I think when we also talk about what makes Mekong Plus special, we do need to think about that flexibility, right? If the people power part is part of the heart, right? And you find donors who will give you more money to expand on your approach, right? Then we need to think about how we answer to that and then how we report that.
Okay, now today we have 1 million euros out in loans. Okay, when I ask the teams, can you do more with the same human resource? They say 50% more.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, no more overheads, but tomorrow they can increase the program by 50%. This is just one example. For scholarships, we give to 2% of the children, but we estimate that at least 5 or 10% children need a scholarship, at least. And why should we give them $20? This is, about 10 or 15% of the real cost. This is definitely not enough. So on the education program, I think we could increase. Today we spend 100,000 euros per year on the access, not training, just access. I think if we could have 5 times more, we could spend it tomorrow.
So can I tell you that when I looked at your strategy document, right, these were the kinds of things I was looking for. Meaning, let's say that you say to your board, don't listen to home, I want 20% more money. But inside my strategy is because I know that with 20% more funds from you, I'm going to do this, right? And I'm going to help this number of students or this number of, right? These are the kinds of communication messages that excite people, right? Because you're very, all of a sudden, Bernard, you're super clear. If I had this, I will do this, right?
Yes.
And in the next year, I will do this. And so if this group of fundraisers raises, we said 300,000, right? 300,000 in the next, did we say 300,000?
What's that?
In the next year, 50,000?
What are you talking about?
You told me, you gave me a number.
Up to now, in 20 years, we have given 200,000 loans.
No, sorry, wait, what I'm saying is, just as an example, if, for your strategy, if I work with the fundraisers, we build capacity, and then Nguyen and Tan and Nguyen, they make all this money, right? They make our target, let's say our target, for example, is 50,000, right? In your strategy, what it should say is, with that 50,000, I plan to do this, this, and this. I plan to expand this by 2%. I plan to increase this by 10%.
Yeah.
That is like, that is exciting stuff that you tell donors. That is exciting stuff that you tell your board.
Yeah.
And right now, that is what's missing in your strategy.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to work with you on that and on that.
Yes, but at the same time, one of the things that is not so clear
My point.
is the for instance, the testimonial that was given here, I forgot what the name, the person who contributed, but
Mansa.
At the end of the day, you supported this family, you trained them to do their stuff. And you gave them money, right? But this is excluding the cost of the time of your staff that is there and that is looking after them, right? This you don't account it to the money that you give to the staff. You just count to the money that you are. Okay. So the way I understand it, and again, it is a good thing, but you have a big organization that you are paying, which is normal to have quality staff and people that you can trust. And you need to demonstrate that you spend one in organization and you do good for 900,000 people rather than spending 900,000 in staff and doing good for one people. I put it. I force the message to be clear. So once you are like this, then people say, yeah, there is nothing like that anywhere else. Yeah, and the return on investment is incredible, and the money really goes to the people. And here are the testimonial that proves me. So it's right, and I can trust, right? And there, at the moment, between Mekong Plus, the local NGO, Mekong Kilt, the various things, it's quite confusing, right?
So yes, what I will say is it comes back to
Your phone.
it's his phone. Now we know the truth. So if we come back to this, right? When we decide what those things are, you already have decided for the most part what the things are that you're measuring in terms of your outputs and your outcomes. And then how we choose to communicate those things and the frequency that we communicate. I mean, we will systematize basically what Laurent is talking about, not necessarily exactly what he's talking about, but sorry, I have to press the button.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you.
So I don't want to get lost in the weeds of the actual how you are measuring the success of the scholarship program or which person you need to put the testimonial. I think that will come. We'll figure that out as we go. I know he has very specific examples.
I think we have the data quite specific. Now
Yeah.
the question is how to phrase it.
Correct. And so we can all work on that together.
Yeah.
But first, the key messages. So in terms of the last thing, which is now on me to do, I will take what we discussed. But I also need some help. Sorry, I need help from the fundraisers. If you can give me some, it can be in Vietnamese too. I can read Vietnamese. Some of the past proposals, just so I can see what the messages are about the different programs, right? I already know what's on the website, but if there's other things that you think will help me, then I will create a document with some of these key things, right? The mission, the vision, which I will discuss with you and not do anything without you. The program wording, right? Basically answering those questions on programs. And then from that, we can start to make different marketing materials, right? And then what I suggest is.
Should we focus on?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think.
Apologies. Apologies.
I hope you can open the window to see this.
It's a challenge to open doors.
Hey.
But when do you want to focus on one specific program like education?
Sorry, no, I'm going to, why is it doing that?
Qu'est-ce que t'as fait encore?
So the other day I went to the fortune teller, my friend went to a fortune teller because she had a ghost. Did you remind me of it? My intention, at least according to my plan, that I gave you, is that I will produce for you some of the main messages for these different things. But then of course we will revise together, and then decide how we.
There's so many applications ongoing. Or, I don't know, each one of you will have 4 or 5 ready to be sent, but we will be flooded with documents.
I would like to be flooded with documents because it's about the general description of things, right? And then from that, because then it will actually make it easier as you go doing proposal to make templates that you at least have that first section is all the same. And then Bernard, if it makes sense, then that you haven't done the revision number 6 on the strategy, but I would like to talk to you more about that. And then after we have something to work with, then I can send it to all of you and then you can feedback.
Yeah.
And meantime, for the fundraisers, we will start our every 2-week sessions, coaching sessions. So let me email you about that. We figure out the date and then we start, and maybe our schedule of topics.
Very good. Then you will say roughly what kind of who are the target people?
But
depends so much.
My schedule, according to my timeline for you, the first draft of the corporate targets, right? My mandate is corporate targets. Inside Vietnam, my deadline is July 31. So I have 10 days.
For example, when I talked to Dominique Scriven, I verified on waste management, it was a disaster. Then his message clearly, he does not want to support the children because he thinks there are too many already. So focus is on microfinance, and this he loves. So unless you know a little bit about the priorities of this and that other.
Yes, but remember, the point of the mapping exercise, which I'm doing with you all, is that first it is a list of 25. Once we go through that list and you feel good about that list, then part of that is the secondary research, right? So I will do a certain amount of research, just basic research to make the big list. But then we will start to reach out to them.
Right.
And only through those first meetings will you actually.
You see, doing the coaching in 2 weeks. I mean,
every 2 weeks.
Yeah, every 2 weeks.
Yes.
But then, we should know roughly who are these people.
Yes. So the idea is to take that list and start to also reach out to them for intro meetings. And because, for example, Dominic is a good example. You thought, and it makes sense. I understand why you thought that he would be interested in waste. Because on the outside, it looks like he's an environmentalist. But actually, only by talking to him do you realize, number one, he's into wildlife. Number
Yeah.
two, he's not so into humans. And it's just not his interest. So then that means that you have to change tactic. But that will be, I guarantee you, of that list of 30, we will think
Sure, yeah.
they will want program A, but actually they will want program C or D or Q or.
This is what is excellent about Mekong Plus because we have everything.
See?
It's like, okay.
So first the target list, then the outreach, then getting to what they want, and then giving them proposal. And that doesn't mean 25 proposals, it probably means 5, right? Because after you filter 5, 10. And then there's the US list. But first I need the communication messages. Otherwise we don't have anything to take.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going.
So I will,
So we have four sources.
yes,
For fundraisers, are going to send you 3 or 4 applications each.
yeah, if you can send me, if you have PowerPoint, if you have
Would like to
also,
support you. And in the reading.
Do we have interviews from people, committee member,
government,
local village head, village chief, whatever?
Not long interviews, but we have some quotes,
Coach,
brief quotes.
is it? What do they think?
doesn't say, oh, that Bernard guy, I'm sick of him.
The vice president of the clinic. The problem with Mekong Plus staff is that they know too much. They spend their time in the villages, so they know more than we do.
But that's excellent.
That's actually a very funny quote.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love a gif of that, that would be very funny.
Then we have the vice president, number 2 of education department in Norway. Kang.
Yeah.
He's also very talkative and he's very good. I'm sure they could collect some good stuff.
What do they say in Europe about NGO?
Let's not the top journey. Especially now, they don't want to say anything.
Yeah, right now it's very sensitive time.
So can they say the good thing about Mekong Plus is that?
Well, what I hear in Haoyang, for example, it's amazing how you can make all these bridges and roads with so little money because, you know, otherwise we cannot. They cannot do the same. I mean,
Yeah.
by mobilizing the community to.
Yeah, can we have a quote saying that from the mayor?
Sign with blood.
Sign with blood and with a red stamp?
Yeah, we could get some, I'm sure. I'm sure you're in football, so you can get some good quotes.
I remember when I was working in Vietnam, there was the vice minister of transport was very proud to say, this bridge is 100% built by Vietnamese enterprise and engineers. And it is 10 times cheaper than any other bridge built by the Japanese or the French or the Korean. Can we have a quote to say, I am very proud to say this bridge was built thanks to help of Mekong Plus, and it is 10 times cheaper than any other bridge built by anybody in Vietnam. Because we as the village, we gave so many dong and we got a bridge that would have cost us so many hundred thousands of dollars to build. So we are very happy. Can we get that?
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
we can add it to our list, right? So we make sure everything has its place.
Especially anything you can have that others don't have.
Okay, so team, we are at
Very good. We are right on time.
of our,
Nice.
oh, there's my face. So anyone else have any feedback or contributions before we end today?
No.
Sorry about our sound, Meet and Luana and Kosal and Sang. Sorry, the sound was not good.
Do you want to give your feeling about this meeting?
Luana, do you have anything you want to?
Yes, yes, it was very informative for me, and I think also for the all participants. And I think that it's a first step necessary to have a common definition of several aspects of Mekong Plus, the vision, the mission, and also a better understanding of what we do, why, and for what purpose. One point for me also it's important and is to have a view on the affluent Vietnamese population, to see and to know their centers of interest and what action we can present and they could contribute for the program of Mekong Plus.
Yeah, that's a very good note.
Thank you.
I can provide both the research on that and of course, it will be part of that target list, the drivers, but then later we will, through our outreach, we will have more information too. Meet or Kusal, anything?
Yes, for me is I think that this meeting today, even I cannot achieve too much because maybe I see that we had some problem with the technical. So yeah, I propose that next time, because my problem and Mud is the same. So I propose that next time Mud he should join the meeting like everyone in face to face than online. Yeah.
Yeah, noted. Also, maybe I just bring a better microphone. Oh, yes. Meet anything?
No, for me it's okay. No anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Pan. And thank you for everyone that share us more idea and we hopefully we hope the next we will build a strong Mekong Plus with the good mission and vision and core value. It's for me sometimes I don't remember the mission of the Mekong Plus, but I just know what we do, but I cannot I cannot read for all or share for all because it's too much long. So if we can make it shorter than before, and easy to everyone remember about Mekong Plus. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bernard, you want to close this out?
No, thank you. I think it's what I like very much is that there is this mobilization of all our brains here in Cambodia and Vietnam working together. I think it's kind of a good team building exercise, pretty much.
Okie dokie.
So it's one step before the next one. Yes.
It's really important. First step for us to prepare the kids and prepare to the funders, especially after I have some idea from a website to prepare products for the funders. Yeah.
So it's a big commitment for the people like Green, and as we just heard from Kosal, it's difficult, Shang, to join, just online. But we have no alternative. Our target population are not in Ho Chi Minh City. That's a fact. So we have to sacrifice and we have to accept to travel. Spend time and energy on that. There is no other way. Yeah.
For the meetings, I mean,
Yeah.
with donors, we will figure out.
Yeah.
I won't drag you here all the time.
Yeah, but I can see that the quality suffers a lot, if it is online. Maybe one-to-one will be better. If you're one-to-one with Cosal or with Smith, with Shang, it will be easier. But still, there is
Yes,
I training.
Oh, I know what I mean is for the coaching wise, online, I'm fine, easy, happy. But for the donor meetings, then,
No question.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. We will figure out a way to not
Yeah.
make it.
So Mekong Plus is very much committed to do this investment. So I ask specifically all the directors and fundraising people to make sure that we have this commitment and if necessary to change the job description so that, we have this investment time-wise from everybody.
Okay,
Good. When is next meeting?
we will work out with I need to hit my target on July 31st with the donor map, corporate donor map, and some of these key messages. First, I need documents from them.
Yeah, okay.
And then we start the coaching.
We need to be strategic about the time of Arnaud as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are maybe some meetings where he has other fish to fry and not much value to add, and
Yeah.
some where he must absolutely be there. So
When it will come to content and storytelling,
when it is about collecting what is actually Mekong Plus doing, probably he like me today, we learn many things more than
was good.
more than we contributed.
Happy to be here.
Which I'm happy to be there, but there is indeed a big collection of information for you to get.
Yeah.
To actually,
One thing is that I am actually not the planner, right? Meaning I'm not the fundraiser for Mekong Plus. So I'm not the one putting together the communication plan. But of course, we can figure out how this works itself out.
I can do things on my own.
And then how we feed it back and forth.
Just make sure we are live. That's that's all I want.
Yeah.
I'm not actually asking you to provide me with all.
Yeah. No,
So, yeah.
just so.
Just making sure we're on the same page.
Yes.
so you have already done a lot of work on the website already, or not yet?
We are at the structure stage. I actually sent you just an email about the audit I did, and I'm starting to work on the design next week. Yeah, with work.
So you've already
Awesome.
audited and made a report, which mainly got the copies. That's great. That's great.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Next time, if you need me to join in one session.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Right.
When do you